This you, Matthew.
Me!
And so this is why I said I think Matthew has the best taste, because if you look,
My pride flag.
if you have a look quickly, you might notice some common points.
Okay.
I have a bit of everyone here, probably.
Yeah.
Alright, why don't you walk us through what these games are then?
Alright, so from top to bottom, Your Turn to Die, Celeste, Amori, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Genshin Impact, Minecraft, Hollow Knight, Super Smash Bros. And Danganronpa 2. Honestly, I couldn't think of anything for the 9th game, so I just picked my favourite Danganronpa game just to make you feel
I was about to ask, why the fuck is Danganronpa 2 on there?
just to make you feel good. And
It's
yes,
like-
it is the game. It is the best.
It is the game of all time.
It is the best game in the
Danganronpa
series.
2 is the one that surprised me the most, because I didn't think you liked that
No,
as much as you did.
to be fair, it's the best one out of the bunch.
Yeah, but like, surely there are other games from other franchises you like better.
Couldn't think of any.
Or I can think of one.
Yeah,
Mason's
two.
not here.
Again, it's what?
Where is Persona 4?
Well, I like Persona 4, but it's not my favourite game.
Alright, where's Persona 5 then?
It's my favorite.
Where are any of the Persona games?
I don't really just feel like happy.
Okay.
It's not the best game of all time.
It's the worst game
Alright.
ever made.
Okay. Again, this is why I was saying why I think Matthew has such good taste in games, because like I said, Genshin Impact, I think I was originally going to put Genshin on my list, and then I just decided to leave it out because of Legion. I wanted to put Watch Dogs Legion on here. If I had put Genshin Impact on my list, that would mean that Matthew and I had 4 games that were the same on our list, because it would have been, I also put Fire Emblem, I also put Danganronpa, I also put Minecraft.
Yeah,
So, and then Callum also put Amori.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, like I said already, Matthew is the reason why Callum and I started playing Amori. Because he just has fucking great taste in stories and games and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone else want to ask anything?
Celeste. Why Celeste?
Oh, Celeste is just an amazing platform.
Why Celeste?
It's an amazing and
I have
really.
never seen Celeste.
It's an amazing and really challenging platformer with a protagonist that I really, really like.
Let me guess, Hollow Knight's the same.
Well,
Hollow Knight,
Well,
I think, is
protagonist-
quite similar. Actually.
Hollow Knight, I wasn't really into it at first, but then I started actually playing it, and it's like.
I am surprised Hollow Knight's on there because you never really talk about
It's
it.
one of my favorite Metroidvania games. Metroidvania type games. It's again also very challenging.
So, by
Also-
Metroidvania type games, do you mean platformers?
No, that's not the same thing.
Yes, it is.
No, well, Metroidvania is like you go around like a massive area and do stuff, and then you go to other places because you've done this thing. In this place.
I know surprisingly little about Hollow Knight.
It's
I know that its art style drew a lot of people in. But...
it's a very challenging and really good game on it, though. Honestly, it's very pretty, or also very spooky.
Celeste Fox.
And Celeste fucks hard. Yeah, but Celeste, no, it's a really good platform, a really good story, and a really good message, and a really good main character. The whole, the plot, you've got really good coal and really good fruit. The strawberries are really fun to get. The music bangs, especially the B-sides. And then they added recently a DLC, a free DLC called Farewell, which is so good. It took me like 7 hours and 3,000 lives to beat.
Bruh.
And the thing is, when you die, here's the thing. When you die in Celeste, you are instantly kicked straight back to the start of the screen. It's not like Mario where you have to watch him fall into the abyss, look at your lives, and then go again. When you die in Mario, it's much more frustrating because, I'm speaking when people make hard Mario Maker levels.
Yeah.
It's much more frustrating.
And it doesn't go back to the beginning of the level or a checkpoint either. It's literally just the start of the screen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right.
Every level is basically a screen or a little longer.
Yeah, and then as it builds up, it builds on with more mechanics. In Farewell, they're still adding more. It's not that they're adding mechanics. It's just that they're telling you stuff that you could always do, but they're just bringing it up now, like wave dashing, and you can boost off a wall and jump off it without climbing onto it. In Farewell, they have a whole they have a little PowerPoint on how to wave dash, and then a tutorial thing. That was.
You want to learn how to do a fucking infinite? Easiest shit in my life. Easiest
Yeah, you can do an
shit in my
infinite in
life.
Celeste. That's how you get to space. You do an infinite.
This is Marvel, baby. We're doing infinite.
Alright. Do you want to quickly go over the games you've already talked about? So Omori, Minecraft, DR2, and Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's just
Again, to reiterate, right? Omori and Fire Emblem, okay, are two games that Matthew got us into.
It's my
right?
So,
It was me.
Callum and I started playing Omori and Three Houses, right? Because Matthew played them originally and then kept gushing about them.
Sam's played Three Houses.
Yeah.
Did you play it before, Matthew?
I don't remember.
No, you didn't.
Probably not.
And I haven't finished it anyway, so.
I mean, you played a route. We all played it. All of the people in our group who have played Three Houses all picked a separate route.
Yeah, because you did
Crimson Flower.
Crimson Flower.
You
I
did-
did Golden Deer.
you did
Blue
Silver Snow.
Lions, and you did Silver Snow.
Yeah, and it's so replayable because of just the routes, what you can do. All the characters have interactions with each other. Well, not all of them with all of them, but a lot of them have interactions with a lot of them.
Supports have always been.
Yeah,
a
they've all got
staple.
supports.
But the supports
And-
have always been a staple of Fire Emblem.
There's a bunch of like endings. There's a bunch of characters that can like end up with different people, and they have their own little story thing afterwards. The music bangs.
yes.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Horsares Fasador.
Yeah, Golden Deer.
That's
That's enough.
enough.
Golden Deer's funny, but yeah, all the cast is just really, really good.
It has Bernadetta.
It does have Bernadetta in it. You're right. What else was there? Danganronpa 2's got the best cast aside from Hiyoko. The Unity.
Why Kyoko?
Hyoko's a dick.
Yeah, but she's like, she's a dick. Come on. See, this is another thing I didn't actually say when I was talking about Danganronpa 2 because I wanted to be brief with it, right? Danganronpa 2 also has a special thing that the other games don't have, which is it has a cast comprised of characters where I just like every single one of them.
The Unity.
There's not a single character in DR2 that I don't like.
Hyoko's not the worst, but she's still a dick.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
For no reason.
But even Hiyoko and Teru Teru, I think, still had great character moments. But anyway,
I can't
keep going,
think
right?
of. Anyway, I can't think of any. Anyway, yeah. No. It's also the first game my favourites died in, so that was tragic.
Oh,
Damn.
The game was like, okay, your favourite girls lived in this one, so, bye-bye. But yeah, it does have Gundam in it. It does indeed have Gundam in it.
Gundam is a fucking highlight.
Yeah, he do be in that game, though. And I like the unity at the end.
The Unity engine.
The cast actually has unity, the most unity.
Yeah, DR2 has the best ending with like the characters and the story.
Oh no, DRV3 still has the best ending.
Does it? Do you genuinely think that?
I find it really good.
Okay, I'm very, very on and off about it. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good either.
You're stopping a franchise.
It's very confusing.
But yeah, Amori. Bang again. That's again, like Callum said, this is like the best RPG for me. The music bangs. If you didn't know, I like games when the music bangs. The music goes so hard in Amori, especially
I'm
the
gonna
bosses.
play it quickly while you're talking.
What are you talking?
I'm gonna play your Amori edit.
Game. Oh.
I got it, it's fine. Just
Amori, it has the best. The bosses have the best like music. All the characters are really likable and enjoyable. It's got a lot of humor and like there's a lot of little bits that you might miss on your first playthrough. But then when you go back, you're like, oh no.
Oh.
You realize things because the build up and the story is so good and it has such an amazing ending that I think it has moments that like shake you, like it pierces through you. You know that feeling. You know in DDLC when you gently open the door and that feeling goes through you,
Yeah.
like that.
But
when
for most of the game.
When
I
game,
feel.
no, not most of the game. Specific points just alter your entire perception of the game. It's got, again, a lot of humor and you'll miss a lot of humor, but then if you explore, you'll see a lot of like the humor. Like you can deliver pizzas with this like really poorly written instructions. There's a whole massive field of traffic cones with a line leading to it, like a little sprout mole, and when you reach it, it goes, "Hey, put them back," and then you just put them back. That is the entire joke.
Yeah.
You do all that just to put them back.
The comedic timing is very good. As well,
Yeah, it builds up all this humor, and then it suddenly just shifts into scary.
It gets the spooky.
It gets real spooky. And Your Turn to Die. Your Turn to Die is my favorite.
Here we fucking go.
Your Turn to Die is my favorite visual novel. I'm making a.
Can I
series
actually
on it.
ask just very quickly,
Yeah.
just so I don't forget to later, which one of these 9 is your favorite?
I don't know.
I was thinking, because I was actually genuinely thinking it had to be either Your Turn to Die or Smash Bros.
Smash Bros is a good like.
Or Amori.
Party fighting game.
Okay, no.
Like-
Okay, I was thinking it was either going to be Your Turn to Die, Smash Bros, or Celeste.
Genshin Impact's my favorite gacha game because at first I looked over at the environment and I went, okay, how far can I go until there's a paywall? And then that paywall never came. The map is massive. This game big. Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's got like fischl in it.
Yeah, I mean, what can we really say about Genshin that we haven't already? We've got an entire video where we rank all the characters from 1.0 to 2.0.
The characters are good. The characters are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your Turn to Die is my favorite like visual novel around like people being trapped in a place because of how like well they work together, how well thought out all the characters are, how you really want to kill the antagonists,
Yes.
like big time.
I couldn't get into it.
And the stakes.
You played it as well.
Yeah.
And the stakes are like really like intense because
Really
people
high.
say it's like, oh, it's like Danganronpa. Yeah, but here's the thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In Danganronpa, people are killing each other over a motive that they learnt the day before. The day before, or saying, and on that same day they said, we would never kill, ever.
No.
See, this is the
And
thing.
then
It always
Well, nobody
offends
would
me.
admit to saying, yeah, I'm gonna kill someone.
yeah,
It
they
always-
would.
It always offends me.
They do actually.
When
Yeah,
people
it's not
always
very
compare-
clever as a strategy.
In
You
your
know that you are.
In Your Turn to Die, they are waiting to pick who to kill off. And then that one guy who has that card that says, if you don't get picked, you die.
I will give Your Turn to Die this, right? There's 2 things I have to say about it, right? Every death that happens in Your Turn to Die is so unpredictable, right? They catch you by surprise like almost every time. And the other thing is, Your Turn to Die, while it's not my type of game and while I couldn't really get into it, I don't like it when people compare it to Danganronpa or Zero Escape or something like that, because I think it survives off its own merits. I think it's a good game on its own. Even if it's the same genre, that doesn't mean it could just be compared to Danganronpa, because Danganronpa is an official title and Your Turn to Die is a web game, so...
It's coming to Steam. It's coming to Steam with a lot of character content and stuff.
Yeah.
At least I think.
Okay.
I've also got I've also advertised it as Joe Tarzan throwing a pickaxe at the camera.
Yeah, he's made some...
Your Turn to Die!
He's made some videos on his own YouTube channel of Your Turn to Die that are very funny. I recommend you check them out.
Have you watched the others?
I haven't recorded them yet, no.
Oh, you should.
I haven't had much time.
Oh.
I've been doing a bunch of other stuff. And when I have had time, it's been in times when my dad's like working or something,
Oh.
and I haven't been able to like...
I'm nearly done with Chapter 3, Part 1's
Alright.
video.
Okay. The only game on there that I don't... I'm gonna go get a glass of water, but the only game on that you haven't talked about yet is Smash Bros.
Smash Bros is a really well-rounded party fighting game. Party platforming fighting game.
I'm gonna get
RPG.
some water as well.
dating sim.
You can use the
Dating
option.
Yeah,
I
dating
mean,
sim.
Last
Smash Bros is a really good party fighting platformer dating sim. I mean, it's good because like the whole mix of characters and wacky stages and just representation of different franchises throughout gaming. It's a good collaboration crossover game.
I agree. It's just overall very solid, I think. It's
Yeah.
just like, I have my own grievances with Smash, but I think Masahiro Sakurai is one of those game creators, and the team that made the game, right? I'm gonna have to add that because everyone's always like, oh, Sakurai made the game by himself.
He did. Sakurai made the entire game by himself.
No, he
in a
birthed
wheelchair.
it out of his elbow.
Sakurai, though, is the
In a
guy
wheelchair.
who obviously originally made the concept and was made the Smash games, right? Is one of the only, like, head of CEOs of game companies and stuff like, because he runs Sora Limited, doesn't he, right?
Yeah.
One of the people, not just like in terms of game companies and CEOs and stuff like that, but I will always respect that man. I think after everything, all the heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears that he and his team put into making this game what it is,
Yeah.
I feel like, because he's gotten so much shit,
And
I
the fact
feel.
that he got,
And he doesn't deserve it, because he's such a great guy.
and the fact that he got Sora from Game Hearts is actually
Yeah,
Yeah.
that. Whose dick at Disney did he have to suck to get there?
Mickey himself.
Wiki
Like,
himself.
oh, go down on me, Sakurai! Ho, ho, ho!
Kingdom Mouse. Kingdom Mouse.
That's not
I've been playing Kingdom Hearts. That's what his name is in Kingdom Hearts. His name is Kingdom Mouse.
Okay, so
Along with
Matt,
Kingdom
again,
Ducks.
I genuinely think this is the one I relate to the most because these are all good games. The only one that I don't agree with is Hollow Knight, and the only reason I disagree with Hollow Knight is because I don't know anything about Hollow Knight. I'm sure it's great because it's on Matthew's list, and again, Matthew has the best tasting games out of all
Have
of
you
us.
ever played any Metroidvania or Dark Souls? You played Elden Ring, right?
No.
No?
No.
No,
My dad
his
played
dad's
Elden Ring and I
played
watched
Elden
him. I am not playing that game.
Even then,
No,
I'd say
I mean,
Elden
if
Ring is the
Mario-
least Metroidvania
if
type
Mario-
of the.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like a Metroidvania plus a Souls-like.
Oh, okay.
Mario Party gave you hemorrhoids, and Elden Ring will not be.
I got fucking. Imagine if I'd put Mario fucking Party on this.
If Mario Party gave you hemorrhoids, Elden Ring.
We
let's
need
just
to
say,
do
isn't gonna
this
kill.
again, but with games that piss us off. And Mario
Yeah.
Party is going to be right smack dab in the center.
Say,
Here's the thing though.
stay
That's going to be a lot
part
difficult
2 for
because I
top
don't
nine-
play many games that I don't like. Right?
Bottom 9 games we've ever played. Well,
I can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
Maybe
Number
bottom
9,
three.
E.T. on the Atari.
I can't think. There's only like 2 games I think that I was ever really let down by, which are Nier Automata and Breath of the Wild. Because everyone and the only reason is because everyone gushes up those 2 games as if there's something phenomenal, but I never saw anything in either of them. Right. Anyway, we have.
I think to be fair, most of the stuff in Nier Automata comes after you play one run through and then realize, oh, I didn't even play a full run through because a run through is literally the
Okay.
entire.
And the
thing.
last person, if you would very kindly go through your list, sir.
Ooh, it's me. Okay, so in order.
This I think is the second most surprising one.
Okay, so in order, top left to bottom right.
Oh, there's the curve.
Pokemon Ultra Sun. Action.
Sun and Moon.
Actually, I'd probably say Pokemon Regular Sun, but that's like just on the. I'm not sure on that. But anyway, Pokemon.
You when I asked you to pick out a specific game from the franchise, you specifically said Ultra Sun. So
Fair
that's
enough.
what I thought.
Yeah, fair enough.
Alright. And honestly, I prefer the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon games had some things that like changed between them that I liked and some I didn't.
Yeah, they made some improvements and some not
Well,
disprovement.
I think the real changes he didn't really prefer, I guess. I think the main one was the fact that some of the totem Pokemon changed.
I think my main problem was with Lusamine story, but I'll get into that later. So you have Pokemon Sun, that Pokemon game.
Generation 7.
Yeah, Gen 7 3DS games. Mother 3, Undertale, Super Paper Mario, Hades, Xenoblade Chronicles, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Majora's Mask, Kirby Super. Wait, what? What is that? Kirby Superstar Ultra.
Yeah,
and
that's
Hollow
so
Knight.
good. That's a
We
great
have the
Kirby.
Hades.
That's a
But
great
still
Kirby.
mad you don't
praise Dusa. Who's still
I have warmed up to Juicer. She's just my least favorite character. I don't dislike her.
Okay, so
She's just the one I don't
Very
like
surprised
as
about-
much.
So the overlap here is that you've also put Hades like Callum, and you've also put Hollow Knight like Matthew. So,
Yes.
would you want to start with those?
Okay, Hades. I've not played a lot of roguelikes. The only ones I've really played are Crypt the Necrodancer and Hades. But even
Crypto
so,
the Necrodancer is a roguelike?
yeah, it has.
Roguelike rhythm.
Yeah,
Very unique combination.
yeah. It's got randomly generated levels. It
Oh,
is.
fair enough.
It is literally just a roguelike. I won't go into it, but it is.
If
Like,
it's randomly generated levels, then yeah, I guess it would be. I would count.
yeah.
Alright, go on.
Yeah. Hades, I am so in love with the gameplay loop and the characters and the music. It's really good. It's not the sort of music I'd listen to outside of the game, though, to be honest. And a lot of people are in love with the soundtrack. I really enjoy it while I'm playing the game, but like I said, it's not like my favorite soundtrack of all time. But the reason that I got really into Hades in the first place is because I love all mythology, especially Greek mythology. I'm a huge anthropology / religious studies buff. I love those topics so much, and I'm so obsessed with digging into different interpretations of the same characters that at one point were believed to be basically as real as many people to this day still hold other religions.
To be fair, Greek mythology I have always found very interesting over most other like Nordic mythology and Roman mythology and stuff like that. I feel like Greek mythology has always been more interesting.
Greek mythology, I'm not sure why it's sort of my favorite, but it's the one that
It just has the most
it's
interesting.
the most accessible, I think.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to get into because there are some famous. You have Thor in the Norse pantheon in the Marvel comics. That's sort of the main one where people know those from, and they sort of have a monopoly on the idea of Norse mythology and culture, and God of War as well has an influence. Then Egyptian mythology. Oddly enough, I had a big ancient Egypt phase, but I didn't really care for the mythology at all. I don't know why.
I know very little about that actually.
Egypt equal pyramid.
Yeah,
Who built the pyramid?
Alien.
Alien.
Elvis.
It was
Elvis built the pyramids.
It was Paul from the Seth Rogen film.
He strummed his bass guitar and just pyramids erupted from the sands underneath a cabbage patch.
Elvis hasn't been alive for that long.
Yes, he has.
Yes, he has.
Just
He's just in a bunker in Argentina. Wait a minute, I think that's someone else.
Yeah, but basically, I
You're thinking of
think
Michael
about that-
Jackson.
Okay.
No, every dead person goes to Argentina
Yes.
when they die. But anyway.
That's Tartarus.
Yeah. Speaking of, I really enjoy the way that they took different aspects of the stories and stuff. That some of it is very much in line with what you'd expect if you're familiar with it, but some of it is very different. It's the second world, I think, Asphodel. That's known to be in general myth. It's sort of from what I understand, it's sort of like Elysium, but not exactly. It's more just sort of plain field. It's not like the heaven. It's just, or nor is it the absolute pits of hell. It's just sort of one of the default layers of Hades. Like when people say, no matter what your morality is, unless you're the best or the worst, you go to Hades. That's mostly sort of Asphodel they're talking about, but it does have a river of fire flowing through it.
Yeah, river of lava.
Yeah, and that's not a big detail, but the creators of Hades took that detail and expanded it to say, okay, well, there's another goddess of the seasons who's really angry, so obviously that's going to cause a lot of problems with weather, but not just in the overworld. What if it also caused it in the underworld? So they considered, okay, what if there was an overflowing of the lava river into this massive sort of farming, field area, so that the second world of the game is hugely fire themed, and it's not the same thing that you would think of when you think of it from the mythology, but if you follow the train of thought, then it's different, but you can totally understand how they got to it. And they did that with so much stuff, like Perseus and Asterius, the Minotaur. It's like
Asterius. Behind Dusa, Asterius is the best. Definitely.
because I just love what they did, because originally the concept of the game was going to be you're playing as Perseus trying to escape the maze, and then they just thought it's not that interesting, and then they made the whole thing with Zagreus, who again they dug straight to the depths of like whatever the hell library they found, and they just found, okay, there's one name that appears very few times.
So ultimately, can I just sum this up before we continue?
Yeah.
Ultimately, what you're saying is the thing you admire the most is how much thought and research went into the development of this game.
Yeah, basically, like
You really like.
they took so much, they did so much research on the outside, and it's like so detailed, and then the actual game itself is like, you might not know this, but it's a roguelike that is story-based more than, it's probably the most story-based roguelike.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do a story in a thing with random levels, and where you're supposed to die. But the thing in Hades is also, you're supposed to die because you're already in the underworld. That's incorporated into the story, and it's really interesting to me how they incorporate all of these elements, and it just ties together so nicely into just one really nice gameplay experience. And the story is really sweet as well.
I like
and
how,
funny.
Yeah, I like how that neither of you have like brought up a character design when it comes to Hades.
They're also all very hot.
Yeah, because like the fact of the matter
Especially
is,
Dusa.
you two have gushed about you two have gushed about like the gameplay loop, which is good, and the character personalities and story, which are also good, but everyone would willingly admit that what draws them to Hades is the fact that the characters just look really attractive.
They are hot. I mean, they're deities. They're gods. Of course, they're going to be hot. That's the whole thing. That they're like perfect beings.
My singular
But
problem
they're-
with Hades is that all the characters I actively like are the only ones you can't have like a proper relationship with, like Dusa and Hypnos. Because Hypnos, you're just his best friend, and Dusa actively tells you, yeah, I'm not. No.
Hypnos is really funny, but also I feel bad saying that he's my second least favorite character. I don't know why we have such.
Why are you
I
built like this?
Because he's funny, but he just doesn't do anything. I just want
He's so cool!
Is he the one that talks really fast?
Now, Hypnos is Sleep Incarnate. He's the one who greets people when they die.
Yeah, whenever you die, he's the first character you see once you respawn. And I do like him, but
He's
he
like,
just...
hey, Zagreus, how about next time you don't do that? You
Yeah.
don't.
I can see why that would annoy Sam, though.
No, I really liked him. I just wish that there was like more to him, because he's really funny.
He's
But
really funny and he's very relatable, because his whole thing is that he's lonely as shit.
Yeah. And he's also brothers with a Death, like Thanatos.
Thanatos, Death Incarnate.
And it's so funny to see just like Death, like always from the...
It's like...
just constantly on the move. Like whenever you see him, he's doing a job, and then Hypnos is literally just sleeping
around.
the whole time.
He literally sleeps
Which
standing up.
which technically, that you can't blame him for that, because it literally is the concept of sleep. But
He
it's
is
still
sleep.
funny.
He's Sleep Incarnate. He's not only that. He's also
Hence
powerful.
why his name is Hypnos, probably.
Yeah.
He's also powerful. He puts Hades himself to sleep just on a whim.
Yeah.
Like Zagreus is like, hey, can you put like all of Hades asleep for a day? Okay.
And then
I'll
he just
risk my
makes the entire
station.
underworld sleep.
Everyone except Zagreus. He's
Yeah.
ridiculously powerful.
Now that we're talking about it, I actually do like him quite a bit.
There you go.
But there you go, change your mind.
But yeah, that's the thing. The only reason that
Why are you built like this?
That's the thing with Hades. The only reason that some of the characters are my least favorite is because I don't see enough of them, and I want to see
Pass me
more
my
of
phone,
them.
I'll do it right now.
Which is a good reason to not like a character, that you want to see more of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right, so that's... you ranted about Hades for about as long as I ranted about Watch Dogs.
It's not even my favorite game on this list. I just
So,
lot.
what is your favorite game on this list?
I am not sure.
Please let it be anything but Majora's Mask.
I don't think that's my favorite. It's up there. It might be like top 3, but it's not my favorite.
Is it Xenoblade Chronicles?
No, that's one of the lowest ones on the list, really.
Oh, why?
Because I really like that. I love the story.
Because
It's
they're
one of the-
British.
Pardon me.
Stop linking everything back to the fact that there are British stuff in here.
I know, but people like repeating motif jokes.
It's funny, and we said it 3 times, so the joke
Yeah,
is...
and one time when it was with me, it was right. So, anyway, okay, so
Xenoblade Chronicles, it's not as deep a reason as the other games. I just think it's a good game, and it's one of the like biggest scale games that I've ever played. It's the one like big JRPG that I played that I really got, other than Persona 3, which is, I really like that game. I'm not sure. I think it's just because I haven't played the other Persona games.
I'm more surprised that there wasn't a Persona game on Matthew's list.
Yeah.
If you had put one on here, then it would have made sense, but it's not surprising that you didn't.
I really love the idea of Persona, but I'm just not... It's a good game, but it's not... I like the idea of it more than I like the actual game.
You like it more on paper than
Yeah. Because I think there's just a lot of writing issues that prevent it from being the best version of itself.
Persona 3, I think in particular, had loads of problems. Like, I think mainly because of the fact that your characters could get tired and that prevented you from grinding for days. And also the fact that you couldn't complete a support without getting that person to fall in love with you or something like that.
Yeah.
Most of the time, at least. They had some exceptions, but...
Persona 3 had a lot of weird design decisions that they did fix in later games, but I haven't played the later games yet, so I didn't really want to put it on the list. But Xenoblade Chronicles is like the one massive JRPG with all of the JRPG stereotypes that I played, and I just really like it. It's just, yeah. But that is plain and simple. Also, it's got Gnostic themes, and I love Gnostic themes.
The thing is, as well, as I mentioned, I mentioned this a couple of times before. Is like I got loads of games because my birthday and Christmas are in the same month, right? And as part of it, one of the things that my grandma got me, actually, the one who recently died, it was like the last gift she ever gave me, is she got me for my birthday the entire trilogy of Xenoblade games, right? So Xenoblade Chronicles, Xenoblade 2, and Xenoblade 3, right? And from the beginning of every game that I got for my birthday and Christmas, those are the 3 I am most excited to play because they're a new experience and I've heard a lot of good things about them, right? I'm even more excited to play the Xenoblade games than I was Pokemon and Sonic Frontiers, right? And I think after I finish Frontiers, I'm gonna have Chronicles 1 be next. Would you? So you think it would be a good play?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if it'll be one of your favorite games because like I said, it is the only.
I'm sure I'll find some way to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'm just saying it probably won't be one of your favorites because you played a lot more like variety in games, but I still think it's really good.
We'll have to see once.
So yeah.
I was genuinely thinking that, like, Sonic Frontiers, after I played that, might actually be on my 9, but I realized quite quickly that, no, absolutely not, it won't. It's good, but it's just good. It's not like a stellar game like Ni no Kuni or Persona or something like that. It's just, it's something that Sonic hasn't had in a while. A game that's decent.
Yeah.
And, like, doesn't have that many problems.
I think I got it for Christmas, but we lost the box. So.
Oh my fucking god, Sam! Are you serious?
Yeah. Of course I am.
Right.
I lose everything.
Going back to this, what else we got? So what are we gonna? We've done Hades. We briefly did Sun, I think. Do you want to maybe elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, sure. So Pokemon Sun, I love Pokemon a hell of a lot. X and Y was my first game that I played because I didn't actually know there were video games until X and Y came out. I just watched the anime.
What?
I just watched the anime, and I knew that there were trading.
You watched the anime? So we're the opposite. I was the other way around.
Yeah, the anime I started with Diamond and Pearl, and I loved that show so much. I used to take my, not even a Pokemon toys, just regular old plushies, and just say, "Go, Bet, fight Lammy, use Thunder Blair.
Pikachu used Thunder Smash.
Go, Tony Blair, use Psyshock."
What the fuck?
I don't know. I just used to love like the idea of just these like animals, and I was just so in love with the character designs and I'm not sure what was my favorite part of Pokemon as a series, but I just loved it so much. And and it's just such a big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
Just absolutely critical to me being me.
Okay, but you
And
said...
I really like competitive Pokemon as well, which I sort of started getting into after
Yeah.
Sun and Moon came out.
Sun and Moon was when competitive Pokemon started getting spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why Sun and Moon was your choice?
Not necessarily. I think it's just my favorite Pokemon game that I've completed because Scarlet and Violet. I'm close enough to the end now. I can say it's a good game, but it's not my favorite.
Same, yeah.
I don't know how it could be. It's like I really want it to be my favorite because I love
really
the story.
do like it actually. I think maybe when they add DLC, it might become my favorite, but they've not done that, so I can't say. Pokemon X and Y. It was my first. I'm nostalgic for it.
Yeah,
But looking
same.
back, there's a lot of stuff that's just.
X and Y is the one that I've replayed the most.
Yeah.
I've replayed X and Y like 10 times
Yeah.
by this point.
It seems. It just seems like it's a finished game, but it seems like there should be more, you know, with X and Y. And I really did love that game though, and that's the one that got me to fall in love with Pokemon again, because I hadn't watched anime in a couple of years. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Pokemon Sword... I actually did... That's probably the game that I played the most, just because it's the one I had on Switch. But
I think
it was okay.
the internet can agree. Like we already kind of discussed Shield earlier with Callum, but I think the internet can agree that Sword and Shield was not perfect.
Yeah, and people say the DLC made it better, but that was also like the same price as the actual game almost, and I just didn't want to. I didn't think it was worth it.
Why do you assume that the Scarlet and Violet DLC won't be?
Just because I think the base game is better already, and I think it's more worth. And I just hope that they won't do that again, because if they do, then.
Do you know why? Because like they chose to do the DLC for Sword and Shield because they didn't want to release a like expanded version of the game,
which
like Ultra Sun.
Yeah, which I wish they did, because I would have waited for the expanded version of Scarlet and Violet to come out, but after the last few generations, it's not going to happen. They've given up with it. They're set on the 2-game model, which I really don't like. I think it's stupid. But it's...
Okay, so going back to it anyway, why above all of those, why Ultra Sun and Moon? Or why Generation 7?
I love the story so much, the region as well, the exploration. It is more linear than the more recent games, but it's still just, every time you enter a new area, it just felt like brand new. Scarlet and Violet, it seems...
Very samey.
Yeah, it's an open world, but it seems too connected. Sun and Moon, you had multiple islands, which each sort of had their own feel, but even within those islands there was lots of variety. But even throughout all that variety, even throughout all the islands, it still had the cohesive theme of like, you're in this tropical place with all of this culture, and it just felt so connected, but so packed with different stuff in terms of designs and characters and Pokemon, and just gameplay things. And you had it's also this one that I think, personally, I was most interested in by all of the, like, mysteries and stuff, because you had the mystery of, the Pokepalago owner being secretly, Lucamine's amnesiac ex-husband and that sort of thing.
Moraine or whatever his name is?
Yeah, I don't even remember, but that was just insane. Like, why would they do that? That's so...
Sun and Moon, I think, because the fact that this, like, Sun and Moon is the game that introduced the branching universe, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that was Auras, actually.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I got that and never finished
But I feel like,
it,
but I feel like even with Auras only really did it with its post-game, so...
Yeah.
I remember playing...
The main story was still very much just Ruby and Sapphire.
And I just really like the Pokemon design as well. I think I had a lot of difficulty.
A lot of the Pokemon are very cool.
Yeah, I
do agree with that. A lot of like.
I should have done more with Ultra Sun.
Fucking
They have so much stuff to do in them.
Yeah, looking back, it's like I used to besmirch Sun and Moon because I always just thought that like X and Y was more fun to replay and stuff, and I think that still holds up true because X and Y is just a game I'm familiar with. But I look back and I realize, why was I saying that? Sun and Moon is amazing. It is like the last time, because I think Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, in the end, I loved Sword and Shield when I first started it, but I feel like by the time I finished Sword and Shield, the story and the actual characters were a significant downgrade from Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Because Sun and Moon, I think both. You were gonna say you earlier. This actually brings me to the next point. You said that you had some grievances between the editions of Ultra Sun, mainly with Lusamine and stuff.
Yeah, I just the main thing is just I liked how Pokemon for once returned to a character who was like genuinely a bad person as the villain, not irredeemable, but still absolutely the things that they did are evil, but also not so cartoonishly out of touch with reality like Team Flare was. Because they were literally fashion Nazis.
Team Flare fucking sucked. I mean, there's no.
I read a weird thing actually that was like a supposed leak that was like everyone dismissed at the time and it said that, but looking back at it, because a lot of the details in that leak line up very closely with future games. It said that Team Flare was actually secretly gonna be a bunch of outer space aliens, and the fairy types were also all space aliens, and the mega evolutions are from the ultimate weapon being fired and hitting the space ship. And it reads like stupid fanfiction, but the original like post that leaked it predicted like, oh yeah, originally they wanted the legendary Pokemon to be space aliens, and they want which eventually happened later with Lusamine and
the Ultra Beast.
no, what's it called?
Solgaleo and Solgaleo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they said,
Necrozma.
Necrozma's not. He's like...
I don't remember all the details, but there was a lot.
Or maybe he is. I don't know.
There were a lot of specific details they mentioned in the post that lined up suspiciously well with the stuff that they added in later games, and it makes you think that like they were just repurposing the stuff that they scrapped from the plans in X and Y. But that's a whole other tangent, and I don't fully believe it, but it's interesting. I think you should like look it up if you get the chance.
Yeah.
But back to Sun and Moon. One more thing, it's just a really pretty game. It's one of the prettiest 3DS
really nice.
games like ever.
Yeah.
I originally thought
for 3DS, especially.
Yeah, even for a 3DS game, it just looks really, really, really good, which I only really appreciated when I went back to it a couple months ago.
For a long time playing Ultra Sun, I thought the only difference is, okay, when you go out of the professor's house at one point, in normal Sun you just keep playing. In Ultra Sun you go outside and the sky goes dark for a second and then goes back to normal. For a long time I thought that was the only change in Ultra Sun. I was like, please don't tell me that's all there is.
Yeah. No, I think I can sum it up best in that I prefer the main game of regular Sun and Moon. I prefer the post game of Ultra Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
That's what Ultra Sun and Moon was. It was basically just bonus.
Yeah, they added a bunch of stuff to the post game, but they had to rewrite some of the stuff in the main story.
I think because this is
in normal Sun, in normal Sun, Lily just leaves and you have to catch Ultra Beasts. Not one of them, you have to catch like 5 each.
Yeah.
Except the last one, and then you get like 10 million. In Ultra Sun, Lily stays, but you fight a bunch of old teams, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as well is the fact that what's interesting to note is that every incarnation of Lusamine across the Pokemon series is different, right? I think because it's like, in the original Sun and Moon, she was, as you described,
she was genuinely an abusive person.
An abusive person, a neglectful mother, a manipulator, and just all round quite a well-constructed villain, right?
Yeah.
In Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon,
she was just mind controlled from the start, which I didn't.
She was more of a lethal protector in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where it was like she wasn't a good person, but her morals were like kind of like an anti-villain, I think, in the end.
Maybe I was too harsh on her because I just liked the way they did her at first.
No. In Sun and Moon, she's better. She's not bad in Ultra Sun and Moon, but she's still better in the original.
Yeah, I just think maybe I was a bit resistant to the change. I think I was too harsh on her.
Well, it's not the fact that they it's a change. It's not like they've altered what she was. It's like she's got a bit of a different motivation because she's trying to protect Alola and the people and Pokemon in it from Necrozma going out of control because of its lack of light, right, is what it was. Her methods were still bad. She still had that, I don't know if you remember this, but she still had that dungeon where she had a bunch of Pokemon that were frozen in, like, cryostasis because she wanted to preserve their beauty forever, right? She still had that. And, but she had, like...
Drifloon looks nice.
Stay in there!
She still had... Yeah, but she still had like those terrible. She was still a pretty terrible person, but then like sort of her morals and her goals were ultimately for the betterment of those around her. So you couldn't really spite her. And then in the Sun and Moon anime, she's just like a complete switch of what she is in Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
But then
She's
again,
a
lot of
doting
things-
mother who loves Lily and Gladion and just goes out of their way to do things for them whenever they want.
Well, to be fair, a lot of things in the anime are good.
Very
One thing I
Lusamine
noticed-
especially.
Yeah, one thing
They
I
still have the fight, like the big Lusamine Nihilego fight in Sun and Moon.
One thing I like
Like-
in
Hmm?
one thing I like, I don't remember what game it is. I think it is Sun, but you find a book, and in that book, it talks about like 3 Pokemon. It describes them and all. Like you
Yeah,
can tell it's
yeah.
of like
It's like a storybook, like a children's storybook about 3 Pokemon that go on an adventure.
yeah, like Pikachu and something.
Yeah.
It sounds like a real story or like a children's book or whatever. Later on, when you go into Lucamine's house and you see all the frozen Pokemon.
It's
you
those
s-
3.
Yeah, it's those
It's
3
like
Pokemon.
Pikachu, Slowpoke, and Pyukumuku or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was the other thing.
Those are the only 3 I remember that were like frozen in ice and Lusamines out. Anyway, so yeah, I get what you mean, but like I still think you are perfectly right. I do think that I gave Ultra Sun a bit too little credit because I do remember that game being really good. One last thing we need to talk about because we need to move on to something else, right? But there's one last thing that we just forgot to mention. We've got to talk about Team Skull.
Oh yeah.
We have to.
Team
We
Skull's
can't. We
the
can't like
Best
go on-
evil team hands
Well,
down.
okay, here's the thing, right? Team Skull were always the best evil team for me. Now I'm really torn because I don't know who I like more between Team Skull and Team Star because they're both really good. I just love Team Star.
I love the
fantastic
characters of Team Star, but they are like not an evil team.
They're not
They're
evil.
really
Neither are really Team Skull.
They're hardly even a team. Yet they don't even like do anything. You have to go out of your way to find them in the game. I can't even classify them like in the same.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't even classify them in the same branch as Team Yell.
Team
I
Star's
still
biggest slide, their biggest like crime, was truancy.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing they ever did was just not show up to
Like,
class.
I classify Team Yell as an evil team. I can't even do the same with Team Star. I love the storyline, but it's not
Yeah, they're
the
a good,
same thing.
They're a good team, not an evil team.
Yeah.
They're good characters. And a
That's
good
how
team,
I
but
see
they're
it as
not
well.
evil
But
team.
if we're like, they are
But then
technically
again, that's
Scarlet.
kind of what, like,
They
Team
are
Skull
technically
like,
Scarlet
though.
and Violet's evil team,
No,
though.
Team
so you
Skull
have
is
to
still
count
like
them.
proper thugs. They're like street level thugs that don't really have any
Yeah,
like
they're
big ambitious
bad.
plans.
They're
Team Skull
but
were
they're
bad
still
team.
they're still a threat to you. Even
Team
so.
Skull were the last time in the whole series where the evil teams were actually a threat. Because, like Sam said, Team Star are, at the end of the day, just a bunch of neurodivergent delinquents, and that's it, right?
And Team
And
Yell,
Team Yell are just
fans.
fucking Millwall hooligans!
Yeah.
Right? Here's what you
Team
said.
Skull, yeah, they're a bad team. They're not an evil team. Like, I think the worst they actually do is that whole... Well, their hideout. That's like the worst thing
Yeah, they took
do.
over a town.
They took over a town. That's like
And
the
Team,
worst thing they
yeah, but
did.
Team Star took over roads.
Yeah, they
as
took
well.
over a town and stole a bunch of Bugginium Z, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's how you get Bugginium Z. You just steal
They
one
stole
from Team
all the
Skull.
Bugginium Z in the region.
Yeah, I
That's how
forgot
you
about
get
that.
Bugginium Z. You don't do a trial. You just snatch one from Guzma's pile. You just...
They're much
Which never
they're
get
much
returned.
more believable as like real street level criminals than
They're real
Team Star is, I
thugs.
think. As well.
The petty criminals.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
Team Skull, I feel like
My favorite evil team, definitely.
they are actually like proper. They hit all the right nails, I think. Team Skull. Right, we
And
need to
with
move
Guzma.
on. We've talked about Pokemon
Enough
for a long
about
time, and I
Pokemon.
think Adam's sad.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Man, if only he had a
Right.
Pokemon game or something.
What haven't we talked about? We talked about Xenoblade,
Nothing.
Hades. Quickly talk about Hollow Knight because Matthew already went
Hollow
over
Knight.
that. But
Just a good game. I just
Yeah,
like
it's just
playing
Good,
it.
bro. It's just good.
It's just good. Just good.
Well,
I think
the thing is,
it's the
though,
one
I-
that you play most often as well because I'll sometimes log into my Switch, turn on like Pokemon or something like that, and it will come up in the top left saying Jabberwock the Lemur is playing Hollow Knight, by the way, and I'm like,
I
okay.
haven't played
And
it
then
in a
half an
while,
hour
but-
later it'd be like Jabberwock the Lemur's still playing Hollow Knight. It's like,
It's
okay,
good. You
yeah.
get really
I
sucked
used to
into
play
it.
it like all day for ages. I've not played it in a while, but it's just a good game. Like same as Xenoblade, it's just a good game. It's not a particularly like I can't say much more. I just really like it.
Okay, so Hollow Knight's done. Right,
Actually, I can say more. The soundtrack to Hollow Knight is beautiful. The art style is I really love that sort of art style. The darkness and the like bugs and the grotesque nature of it, and the whole theme of like corruption spreading throughout everything.
Yeah.
It's just so cool, and the lore is interesting, but I'm the sort of person who I really like the lore of the game, but I did not understand it at all while I was playing it.
That's me with 13 Sentinels, I think.
Yeah,
I haven't finished that, but I started it.
I don't think I'm stupid, but I think that Hollow Knight's lore was too like obscurely spread out to easily understand as a newcomer. Like
Yeah.
there's loads of elements that I didn't even know that I was supposed to be looking for.
Alright. Like I said, there are some here that make sense to me. I think this is the one that, like, behind Callum's, this was the most surprising one for me, for really just one thing in particular. Mother 3.
Mother 3 is my Omori. I'll be real.
Even though you can't play it in English.
Yeah, but the fan translation is the best thing. It's probably better than any official translation would have been. Because they change a lot of stuff in localization in any game, but the people who fan translated Mother 3 were super dedicated, and they tried to recreate it like as accurately as possible while also like translating the spirit of it and the meaning, the literal meaning. It's just a really good localization for the one of the fans, and that's another thing. The fan community for the Earthbound series is just so great. But Mother 3, it's just I love the story.
I have no idea anything about Mother 3.
Well, you know Lucas. That's the game he's from.
I know he exists.
I very rarely cry at video games. Some films I cry at, some shows, some songs, but very, very, very rarely do I cry at video games. The only times that I
Hey, that's a thought. That's a thought, actually. Sorry, before we continue. Did any of for everyone else who has already gone, did any of the games in your top 9 make you cry at any point?
No.
I'd imagine not, because I have to confess that one of them did.
Ni no Kuni?
No, Skylanders. Giants had this one plot point where, like, this big ghost guy died, and, like, at one point in the game, and he gets revived later, but, like, that was the first time I'd ever experienced death in a video game, and it came so out of left field, and I just bawled my eyes out, and then after I needed my, I played Giants when I was 10 years old, to be fair, okay? But then, okay, actually no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Not just Skylanders. I am willing to admit Danganronpa 2 Chapter 4 made me fucking bawl my eyes out. Because what happens with the end of that when, like, okay, spoilers. When Gundam dies in, like, DR2 Chapter 4, that gets me every time.
The hamsters persevere.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hamsters live. The hamsters
live. They're fine.
That's all that
takes
matters.
care of them.
The hamsters are the sweet characters.
Right, and then, sorry, I know we're going back to me, but it's just, what happened though with Skylanders though is
I'm just gonna go to the toilet real quick.
what changed immediately? Are you okay? You need toilet again.
I have a very weak bladder, you know this.
Alright. What changed it for me though was immediately afterwards, the guy who owned the robot that the ghost was possessing, right? I spoke to him in like the hub world, and it was like, it was the funniest conversation in that whole game for me.
Yeah.
Which immediately got rid of all the sadness, because it was like, all I ask is that you don't break my robot in those vaults, and what are you going to do? Break my robot in those vaults! From now on, I'm just going to say the opposite of what I really want. And he goes, please don't give me all the money in your pocket right now. It's like, oh, please, don't go destroying all the beautiful clouds. I love them so much. And it's like, the funniest conversation in the whole game happened immediately after that death.
Yeah.
And it fixed everything.
Problem solved.
What are you looking at?
Hades.
I need to get Hades.
You playing Hades again?
I put it in right now. Put it in right. I need to play Hades. Hades nuts.
I think it was like on discounted game. Like, I don't know. I'll find it. I'll eat it.
I'll probably start a new save file and just beat the game again.
Sam, Callum's playing Hades again.
Yay.
I'm gonna start.
Return.
I'm gonna start a new save file. Beat the game again.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mother 3. If you go.
Wait, I think that's not.
It's just one bar. Mother 3.
One bit.
I can only remember crying to 2 games definitely. I might have cried in Hades. I don't remember. But I definitely cried in Pokemon Violet when the Arvens was lost their first
Oh,
game.
really?
That was
Yes,
very
I don't
sad.
know. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because of other stuff that was happening around the time. Maybe I was just
fair enough.
maybe I was just emotionally weak at that time. But when the Arvens got lost, I was
2022 was a
Yeah, that
rough
did actually
year.
feel.
Yeah.
That did actually like feel. Yeah, I
Arven,
do get that.
yeah, to Scarlet and Violet. I'm amazed that like Scarlet and Violet hasn't appeared once.
He had very realistic.
We've got like
movements.
5 people in this group because everyone except Adam put like a Pokemon game on their list. Except you, I don't think you did, but
I wanted to.
and
but
like
I wasn't
none of them were Scarlet and Violet.
I would have put Scarlet.
Which
Scarlet
is a
Violet's
shame
too
because
new.
Scarlet and Violet, I just feel like Scarlet and Violet has one thing over Legends Arceus, in my opinion, of why I picked Scarlet and Violet, and why I picked that over Scarlet and Violet, and that's Legends Arceus did everything better except story. Like Scarlet and Violet has the best story in any Pokemon game, except for maybe Black and White 1.
Yeah, that's a damn good game.
That's just straight up a fantastic narrative, Black and White 1. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, Mother 3. So Pokemon Scarlet Violet, I cried once. That might have been because of the game, or maybe not. But either way, I'm still counting that. But Mother 3, multiple times I was like either bawling or holding back tears. It's so hard to explain stuff about that specific game without just every reason that I like it is a major spoiler basically. But the Mother series as a whole is just so funny. Like all of us like Undertale in this room basically, which is another of my favorite games. But
Yeah, we need to get to that in a bit.
yeah, all like it's
Do we really
so.
need to get into Undertale? I think everyone has fucking played it at some
I
point.
won't get into Undertale, but I'll get into why it's my favorite soon. But it's just Mother as a series is just really. It strikes the perfect balance, I think, between like funny and emotional.
We'll get this done. Don't worry.
It's got loads of super emotional moments and loads of super funny moments, and it doesn't feel forced either of them. Because sometimes it can feel too try hard if you do one or the other too not well enough. But the Mother series is really good, and each game on its own, standalone, they're great. As a collective, they are a gorgeous story. It's told over 3 games, and they also each have a different like main character. You probably know, even though Ninten and Ness look the exact same.
Ninten, Ness, and Lucas were the 3, right?
Yeah, they're all very. The first 2 games are very similar. Earthbound is almost a remake of Mother 1, but it's a remake in the same way that Let's Go is a remake of
Pokemon
Red and
Yellow.
Like it's the same basic plot beats, it's the same basic characters, but it is still a sequel. And Mother 1, it's my least favorite of the series just because it's the shortest and it's an NES game and it has a lot
You
of
have, I think, the
difficulties.
oldest pick of all of these, of all of the games we've had so
Mother
far.
3 only came out in like.
Yeah, but you're talking about Mother as a franchise
Yeah.
as well, and Mother as a franchise is like goes
That's
back
like
to like
the
early
80s,
90s and stuff.
Yeah. Mother 1, least favorite. Mother 2, second favorite.
They get better over time, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then Mother 3.
Yeah. Mother 3, Earthbound focuses a lot more on the funny side of it. Mother 3 focuses a lot more on the emotional side of it. But they both, like... I say they're really good standalone stories, but they are so much better if you play them in order.
Okay.
Or at least if you play Earthbound before Mother 3, you can play, like, Mother 1 at any point, really.
We are kind of low on time, and we've still got like half of this to get through. So
I'll hurry up.
just
But I'm
be
just
quick
saying-
about Undertale, because we've already
Okay.
like figured it.
Undertale, it's a great game, obviously.
I think we just all conclusively agree that Undertale is a good
Yeah.
game.
But I also
Yeah.
want to specifically say that Undertale introduced me to Homestuck, and Homestuck made me realize a lot of stuff about myself. I'm trans because of the whole Undertale, basically. I'm trans. No, I'll tell you.
Undertale is the Celeste for you,
Yeah,
basically.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
the narrative through line. I became trans. I realized I was trans because of the Homestuck fandom. I got into Homestuck because of the Undertale fandom. I got into the Undertale fandom because of both because of no. Let me correct myself.
I can't remember the.
I got into Homestuck because I got into Earthbound, which I got into because of Undertale, which I got into because of Jacksepticeye, which I got into because of PewDiePie, which I got onto because on a school trip in Year 6, someone told me about both Slenderman and Owl Lover 69 or whatever it was called, and because of that I got into PewDiePie, so PewDiePie made me trans.
It's a lord.
Moral of the story: PewDiePie made me trans. All right.
Fantastic.
Okay. Undertale. It's just great characters,
And-
great world, great music.
Yeah, it's and also because of the Deltarune is also Deltarune and Homestuck. I see as like one big thing with Undertale. If it was just Undertale, I might not actually put it at the top, but because of its connection with all of these things, it's up there. It's one of my favorites.
Deltarune. I was so unimpressed by Deltarune with Chapter 1, but then when Chapter 2
Yeah.
came out, I fell in love with it.
I think when the game gets more chapters, it'll be like.
Yeah.
I was watching a Deltarune video just before. I
Okay,
came
so
around.
that's Undertale done. Why Majora's Mask over every other Zelda game?
It is the most grounded. Like what I said about we're getting now.
It's fucking hard. So
Yeah, it's not that hard because you technically have a quote unquote time limit, but you can infinitely reset as much as you want, and you never lose any meaningful progress. Basically, you have to complete any mission within a time limit, but once you do it, you don't have to worry about it again. And you can do. There are some missions that take like the whole 3-day cycle. But it's really. It's not stressful because of the time limit it imposes on you as a person, on you as a player rather, but it's the best exploration of death I've ever seen in a video game, and I like horror things. I like atmospheric horror. I don't like jump scares or gore. I love atmospheric horror, but it's like this and the last game on my list, Super Mario. They're basically like, what if they sound
I was
like
about to ask about that as well, because Paper Mario is the one that got me the most, other than Mother 3.
yeah.
You never talked about Paper Mario ever.
I never thought about it that much, but until you asked me my favorite games, and I realized it's actually a really damn game. So I'll start with Super Paper Mario because that's easiest and quickest to get over with. I grew up with a Wii. It was probably one of my most played games on the Wii. I just love the story and the characters. It's not, looking back, it's probably not as good as the other Paper Mario games, but it's the one that I'm most nostalgic for. It represents my just youth growing up playing what I did. Same with Kirby, like all of the Kirby games.
Yeah.
But Super Paper Mario specifically, I just really like it, and it's so shocking to just see that, like, yeah, it's a literal apocalypse scenario in this super cutesy art style, and it sounds like a creepypasta, but it's just a
I mean,
really-
there was a very famous creepypasta written around it.
Yeah.
Kirby?
Bend Round.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking
Kirby
about
Superstar.
I'm talking about Super Paper Mario.
Oh yeah,
now.
sorry, I thought we were talking about both, to be honest, because
Yeah,
you
well,
said
well-
that they both had the same sort of
Yeah,
thematic
but I'm just
theme.
getting Super Paper Mario out of the way. I just really like the game. Like the others, it's just a generally good game, but it's also a really great story, and the music and the art. It has like another thing. Every single world has a different art style. It's very
Yeah?
yeah.
Because it's arts and crafts.
Yeah. They weren't actually going super hard into the art and crafts theme until the next game, but this one was just like, they had one pixel art, they had one where you literally die and go to hell.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah, that was a thing that happened. wasn't it?
That was World 7, yeah. The supervillain literally successfully kills you and you make an escape, and then you reunite. Big spoilers, but it's just, actually I won't get into the spoilers, but there's
I've already spoiled some
Okay.
stuff from my game.
Yeah,
It doesn't really
you,
go light on it, but don't worry
there's
about
multiple times where you have to help someone confront their own death or help someone confront the imminent death of a loved one. One of the characters, who is like an ally for you throughout a chapter who starts off not that nice, but then you get to sympathize with them more and more. She turns out to be one of the like collectible items that you need to beat the game, and she needs to basically sacrifice herself so that the world doesn't end. And it's really beautiful, and same with Majora's Mask. I just love the exploration of these like philosophical themes. They're both really comforting games because they're very dark, but they're like intimate. They both deal with world-ending scenarios, but that's the thing. It's not the fact that you have to stop the end of the world that's the main plot behind the game. The main plot behind each of those games is, well, for Paper Mario it is, yeah, but for Majora's Mask, the main plot is you need to help an entire village come to terms with the fact that they're going to die. And then while you do that, you try to stop the end of the world in the meantime. And it's just really beautiful.
I've just had a realization now that you've gone in depth and I'm looking at this list. I've noticed the pattern.
Yeah.
You like cute games with dark storylines.
Yeah.
That's why I think
Sun and Moon has some dark shit storyline. Mother 3, Undertale, Paper Mario, Majora's Mask, Hades,
Even Kirby.
Horror Night, even Kirby. That's the last one you got to talk about.
That's why I think you'll love Omori. It's a cute game with that's really.
Yeah, that's
tough.
why I said Mother 3 is my Omori. I've not played Omori yet. It probably would be on
You probably should, because I think at this point in
will.
You have
time,
it.
we can all recommend it. Because
Yeah.
I haven't finished it or even really started, and I
I'll
already
play it.
love it.
But Majora's Mask, I'm not sure if I can say it's my favourite game. Also, but actually, yeah, the
But
story.
if it wasn't, why is it here?
No, it's not my favourite game. It's probably one of my top 3. But actually, alongside just the story, it's just really well designed. Like the Zelda series, I really like in general. Zelda is one of my favourite franchises. So is Kirby. So is Pokemon. They're all my favourites. But Zelda, like this game is the best in terms of side quests and the best in terms of mainline dungeons, I think, personally.
Yeah.
Or maybe not the best, but they're very, very good and very unique. And I just really, it's a good game.
Okay. We've got like 15 more minutes or so before we have to stop
Okay.
recording and go.
The last one I've not gone into much is
Literally
Kirby.
just all that's left is Kirby Super
Oh
Star.
my god, that game.
Kirby is Kirby. I like Kirby. I could go into super depth, but basically, I just spent so much time on
You
Every-
sound excited.
I love Superstar Ultra.
every Kirby game I had. They all like Squeak Squad and Superstar Ultra. Basically, one
He
game.
did also say Squeak Squad was like,
Yeah.
if it's not Superstar Ultra, it's Squeak
I
Squad.
think I
Yeah.
played Squeak Squad.
Squeak Squad and Superstar Ultra are basically the same game in my mind because I played both of them so much. But also another thing with Kirby is that like it's sort of the same game every time, but it's also you do get to see the changes in copy abilities and the different characters it introduces in every game. I just like it.
The true
It's really nostalgic to me. Is the main thing. This is my nostalgia game. That and Super Paper.
The True Arena was really difficult, honestly, for me.
Usually they are.
Sam,
yeah.
The True Arena was my favourite part of the game, and Meta Nightmare Ultra.
Yeah, that was
those were my two favourites. I wasn't huge on what was the one with Mark? Space Milky Way
yeah.
Wishes.
Milky Way Wishes, yeah.
That was good, but it wasn't my favourite. I just
They had a lot of games in one, so
yeah.
yeah.
And then those two games plus Return to Dreamland, even Mass Attack I quite liked. The mini games I sunk so much time into the Toho shoot 'em up clone.
the bullet hell mini game.
Yeah, and Kirby's Epic Yarn is actually one of my favorites.
Really like Kirby's Epic Yarn. I think I skipped school to play that one.
I couldn't.
Really?
I don't remember. No,
Bad boy.
no. I remember. I got sick, so I couldn't go into school. So I was at like the little hospital near me, and I was just thinking in my head, yeah, I get to go home and play Kirby's Epic Yarn.
I couldn't justify putting that as my top game, but like Kirby in general, the whole franchise is really cute.
Your list is literally just, baby boy, he's a little bit fucked up actually. That is your whole list.
The reason,
Yeah,
the entire
That
reason,
probably says a lot about me.
the entire reason that Marx was so easy for me to stomp in Smash Bros. Was because he kicked my ass so much in Superstar Ultra that I learned his attacks.
Bruh.
Alright, anyway,
So that's me finished.
that's
Yes.
that's about it then. So,
And Cameron's not here.
does anyone want to do the outro?
Welcome to CPI. Please continue watching the video and give a like if you like the things that we say coming up
Subscribe.
after this video.
Be sure
Or
to
if you
like
hate
it.
our opinions, be sure to put a
Welcome
comment.
to
Put a
the
comment.
channel.
We won't read.
We will read them.
Bless you.
Alright, bye guys.
Bye.
Thank you for watching.
Also, wait, one more thing before we go, by the way. I will make a bonus episode of this video that has Cameron's list, so...
Or we can just
He
add
wasn't-
Cameron's in.
He wasn't able to... Well, I want to edit this and upload this, so...
Oh.
Alright, we'll see you all later.
Very
Bye.
swag.
Bye.
Au revoir.